They say betrayal cuts deepest when it comes from the ones closest to you. My name is Claire. I'm 27 years old, and I live in a quiet part of Vermont now. Or, at least, I exist here. I'm not sure I really live anymore. It's been 6 months since my life was split in two, since the person I trusted most looked me in the eyes and ruined everything I held sacred. That person was Rachel. She's also 27, and we'd been best friends since we were teenagers. For more than a decade, she was my sister in everything but blood, the one who knew my fears, my dreams, my heartbreaks. I believed she'd stand beside me forever. I believed she loved me. But she didn't. Because if she had, she wouldn't have torn my life apart just because I married the man she secretly wanted for herself. That's the cruelest part. She did it for that one petty reason. I met Adam, now 31, during my first year of grad school at a small university in New Hampshire. He was assisting a senior professor with a research project, and the three of us, Rachel, Adam, and I, became fast friends. Back then, Rachel never said she had feelings for him, not once. So when Adam and I began dating, I didn't think twice. I loved him, and I thought she supported me. For years, I confided in her about everything, from our arguments to our plans, our fears, our hopes. And when I found out I was pregnant, it was Rachel I told first. We were working together that day, and I took the test in her apartment. When it came back positive, we both cried. She hugged me and told me how happy she was, and I believed every word. That memory haunts me now. The way her eyes lit up, the way she wiped my tears, all of it was a performance, a carefully built lie. And I didn't see it until it was too late. About 6 months after that day, Adam started pulling away. He was tense, angry over small things, short with me. I asked what was going on, but he always brushed it off. Until one night when I finally pressed him and he told me he knew the truth. I didn't understand. Then he showed me the evidence, screenshots of chats from a dating app, messages that looked like they came from me. In them, I supposedly told another man that I was pregnant but unsure if it was his or Adam's, that I'd recently slept with this man. The photos in the profile were of me, private photos no one should have had, photos that lived only on an old phone I hadn't used in years. My heart dropped. I told Adam those were fake, that I had no idea where they came from. I begged him to believe me, but he didn't. He said Rachel had told him everything, how she had caught me cheating, how she'd known for months but couldn't live with the guilt anymore. She'd told him to check my old phone, and when he did, he found the fake app and messages. Of course he believed her. She was Rachel, our friend. I told him Rachel was lying, that she must have used my phone behind my back to set this up. I told him I'd never touched another man, never even considered it. But none of that mattered. The messages looked too real, the betrayal too convincing. We called Rachel together. I thought hearing her voice would somehow fix everything. But instead, she looked me dead in the eyes and told Adam that I had betrayed him, that she was tired of covering for me. Her voice was calm, emotionless, like she wasn't destroying the life of the person who once called her family. Adam told me to pack my things. He wanted a divorce, a paternity test. I left, numb, and stayed with my older brother. The test confirmed what I already knew. The baby was his. But Adam still didn't believe I was innocent. We fought, again and again. I ended up in the hospital from the stress. And that was when something shifted. Rachel confessed. She told Adam everything. That she had used my old phone. That she created both the fake profile of me and the fake man. That the photos, the messages, the story, all of it was her. She said she did it because Adam had stopped paying attention to her since I got pregnant, that she missed being the center of things, that she acted out of jealousy and spite. And then she said she was sorry, that she didn't expect it to spiral so far, that she thought Adam would get mad and move on. She said she never meant to ruin everything, but she did. Rachel said she never meant for things to unravel the way they did, that she thought Adam would just be angry with me for a few days, maybe need some space, and then forgive me because, in her words, he loved me too much to stay mad. But love doesn't work like that, not when it's been poisoned with lies. When she confessed, Adam apologized to me more times than I can count. There was a desperation in his voice I hadn't heard since the day we said our vows. We talked, really talked, for the first time in weeks, and in the end, we decided we needed space. Therapy is on the table, both couples and individual. But even with that, I don't know if it will be enough. Our relationship feels like it's barely breathing. I can't stop wondering if we've already broken it beyond repair. Because it's not just the lies or the betrayal. It's what came after. It's what we did to each other when the pain became too much to carry alone. One night, not long after the paternity test came back, we had a fight. It started like all the others: sharp words, tears, silence. But that night it turned into something else, something darker. He told me to pack my things and leave. I refused. I told him I wasn't going anywhere. That's when he grabbed my arm, not violently at first, just trying to make me move, but it hurt. I yanked my arm away and shoved him, and he stumbled into the edge of the dining table. Then he came back toward me, grabbed both of my arms, and shook me. Not hard enough to throw me, but hard enough to bruise. Hard enough that I remember the fear in my chest more than anything else. Adam's a tall man, 6'3", and I've always been on the smaller side. When he held my arms like that, it was like something inside me cracked. Not just from the pain, but from the realization. This isn't who we were. In the past, we'd argue, sure, but never like this. Never with bruises. Never with that look in his eyes. Wild, panicked, lost. Afterward, he dropped his hands like they burned him and left the house for hours. I sat on the floor in the kitchen and cried until the sun came up. I don't know how we heal from that moment. I'm scared that therapy won't be enough. Scared that even if we try, we'll always carry this scar beneath the surface, waiting to reopen when things get hard. I can't erase what happened. And the truth is, I don't know if I want to. I'm still stunned that Rachel, the person who once held my hand through every breakup, every family crisis, was capable of orchestrating all this. That she could watch my life collapse from the inside out and not blink. When I confronted her after the confession, her face was a blank wall. No tears, no remorse. Just that same calm, cruel detachment. She said she didn't think it would go this far. But how could it not? The emotional damage is one thing, but she risked my health, my baby's health, all over some twisted, jealous fantasy that she never had the courage to voice. I was pregnant and stressed to the point of collapse, and she watched it happen. Watched Adam unravel, watched me fall apart, and said nothing. People online have weighed in. Some call her a monster. Others say she was mentally unwell and needs help. A few asked if Adam had kept in contact with her after I left. He hasn't. The moment she confessed, he cut her off completely. I don't think he's even said her name since. There's also a lot of concern about the violence, and rightfully so. People want to know who started it, how bad it really got. The answer is, it doesn't matter. What matters is that it happened, that we crossed a line that should never have even existed. And I think the scariest part is how quickly it escalated. One minute we were yelling. The next minute I was nursing bruises on my pale, fragile skin and wondering how we'd gotten here. One commenter said something that stuck with me. Set boundaries. Agree never to speak to her again. Be honest about the fight. Not why it happened, not who's to blame, just acknowledge that it happened and that it's not okay. That's where we are now, trying to be honest, trying to pick up the pieces. Adam is remorseful. I am too. We're both victims of a lie, but we also hurt each other, deeply. And if we want to heal, we have to face that without flinching. No more pretending, no more minimizing. I'm still living in the same house. We're quiet around each other most days, but there are moments, small ones, where it feels like we're still us. A hand brushing against mine in the hallway. A shared glance when we're looking at baby clothes online. But those moments are fleeting, and they're fragile. We're not okay. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But we're trying. Rebuilding trust after it's been broken this badly feels like trying to glue together shattered glass with bare hands. Every step forward cuts a little more. That's what we're dealing with now. Adam and I are trying. We really are. But after everything that's happened, even the air between us feels fragile. The only way forward, we've been told, is full honesty. Laying it all out, no matter how much it hurts. Talking through the betrayal, the violence, the fear, the doubt. And even then, there are no guarantees. The biggest question now is, how do we learn to trust again? Adam was manipulated into believing the worst of me, and even though it wasn't true, the doubt was real. It left a mark. If something else happens down the road, a misunderstanding, a new lie from someone else, will he believe me? Will I believe him? That's the reality we're facing. The fear that this will always live in the background, whispering what-ifs into our quietest moments. And then there's the pregnancy. The baby girl growing inside me doesn't deserve to be born into this storm of distrust and trauma. So I've started making a plan, one built around what feels safe and right for me. I've told Adam that I need autonomy in the delivery decisions, that I'll be the one choosing who's in the room, how things are handled, and what kind of support I need. He said he understands. I hope he really does. Because at this point, my health and hers comes before anything else. We've also made the decision to lean on our families more, something that's never been easy for either of us. But we can't pretend we're strong enough to do this alone anymore. My brother has been a rock, and Adam's sister has stepped in too. They both know what happened, and while no one says it out loud, I can tell they're scared for us. Scared we won't make it. Scared the baby will grow up in a house still full of tension and quiet resentment. But they're here. That's something. One of the hardest parts is making sure our baby never become a tool in this mess. We've agreed, no using her to hurt each other. If Adam wants to see me, he needs to say that. If I want to talk to him, I can't use the baby as an excuse. She needs peace, even if we can't always find it ourselves. Of course, therapy is a lifeline, but no one warns you how messy healing can be. Forgiveness isn't a straight line. Some days I feel like I'm moving forward. Other days I wake up shaking, remembering how it felt when Adam grabbed my arms. I know he didn't mean to hurt me, but the bruises stayed for weeks. Sometimes they're still faintly visible when I wear short sleeves, and I see the way his eyes avoid them. I see the guilt on his face, and it crushes me. Not because I want him to suffer, I don't, but because I know he can't take it back, and neither can I. It's been nearly 2 months since that night. The pain is mostly gone, at least physically, but my skin still marks easily, and the shadows of what happened linger. I've told him I forgive him, and I mean it, or at least I'm trying to. We were both drowning, both reacting out of fear, confusion, betrayal. It wasn't just his fault. I pushed him too. We lost control, and now we live with the consequences. Rachel, for her part, is completely cut off. We confronted her again after the dust settled, and she admitted it all. Every lie, every screenshot. She used my old phone, the one she knew I never touched anymore. Said she got the idea because we shared a small business and she was at my house constantly. She had access. She knew my routines. She knew where I kept that phone, and she used it. She even told Adam that she had driven me to meet this imaginary man, that she'd paid for hotel rooms on her own card, pretending they were favors to help me keep my secrets. None of it was real, but it looked real, and in a way, I can't even blame Adam for believing it. If the roles were reversed and I had seen messages like that, photos, locations, timestamps, I might have believed them too. It's terrifying how easy it is to manufacture a lie convincing enough to break two people apart. We trusted Rachel for years. She was our friend, someone who stood next to us at our wedding. And she did this. She watched us unravel and said nothing until I ended up in a hospital bed, too weak to stand from the stress. That's when her conscience finally kicked in. Adam and I are still here, somehow. We've started therapy, both together and alone. We're preparing the nursery now, picking out soft colors and trying to believe in new beginnings. But some days, I still catch myself wondering if we're just pretending, if this is healing, or if we're just papering over the cracks. We're trying, that's the truth. I don't know if that's enough, but for now, it has to be. We've been preparing the nursery lately. Soft blankets, a white crib with tiny stars carved into the sides, pale yellow walls that we painted together in silence. It's strange how something so small can shift the weight in a room. There's still tension between us, unspoken things clinging to the corners. But when we talk about her, about the baby, we soften. For now, that's working. For now, we're moving forward. Adam and I have been together for 8 years. 8 years of laughter, holidays, late-night drives, inside jokes only we understand. That history still lives in the spaces between us, like a thread too stubborn to snap. So even after everything, the betrayal, the accusations, the bruises, a part of me still clings to that thread. I didn't want to throw away all that time, not just because of what we were, but because of what we might still be. We both promised each other that what happened that night would never happen again, that we'd never raise our hands in anger or lose ourselves to fear like that again. I want to believe that. I need to. But belief doesn't come easy now. Promises feel fragile. Still, we're doing everything we can. Therapy, boundaries, check-ins. And it's helping, slowly. But every step forward is laced with caution. The cracks are still there, just beneath the surface. Sometimes I catch Adam staring at the faint shadows on my arms, the ones that haven't completely faded. He doesn't say anything, but his eyes linger like a silent apology. I wear long sleeves most days now, not because I want to hide them, but because I want us both to stop reliving that moment. He's trying, I know he is, and I'm trying too. It just hurts that love can't erase pain the way we hope it will. I know some people might wonder why we didn't go full no contact with Rachel after her confession. The truth is, we did, eventually. After she admitted everything, after she sobbed into the phone and said she didn't mean for it to spiral this far, we cut her out completely. There's been no contact since. I don't know where she is or what she's doing. I don't know if she's getting help, and honestly, I don't want to know. But sometimes, in the quiet moments, I find myself wondering, what kind of emptiness lives in someone that makes them do something like that? How broken does a person have to be to look you in the eye for years and then destroy your life from the inside out? I'll never understand it. And maybe that's the hardest part, the not knowing. The not understanding how someone you once called a sister could be capable of so much cruelty just because you married the man she silently wanted. We trusted her. That stings the most. She didn't just hurt me, she hurt Adam too. And in a twisted way, she hurt the baby, because all of this stress, all of this heartbreak, it bleeds into everything, into sleep, into our health, into the home we're trying to rebuild. And she did it all while pretending to be our friend. That's not something either of us can forget or forgive. I don't know what the future looks like for Adam and me. We've started talking again, really talking, not just about the baby or the errands or the appointments, but about us, about the pain, about how scared we are. And sometimes we cry together. Other times we sit in silence and let the weight of everything pass between us like a storm we can't speak over. We still sleep in the same bed, but there's a space between us now. Not always physical, but emotional. A gap we're trying to bridge with honesty and time. Some days are better than others. Some days I laugh at something he says, and it feels like before. Other days I flinch when he walks into the room too fast, and I hate myself for it. We're both haunted, not just by what Rachel did, but by what we allowed to happen to each other in the aftermath. The way fear made strangers of us. The way love, once so easy, now feels like something we have to earn back moment by moment. But we are trying. That has to mean something. Maybe, in time, this house will feel like home again. Maybe the baby's laughter will fill the rooms with something brighter than sorrow. Maybe we'll look back on this time as the crucible that forced us to become stronger, more compassionate, more human. Or maybe we won't. Maybe we'll always carry this with us, like a scar that never quite fades. All I know is that we're still here. That counts for something, doesn't it? There's a kind of grief that settles in quietly, not from loss, but from being unseen. That's what I felt when I read the comment from someone who had suffered with osteoarthritis since they were 14, forced to use a cane on and off for most of their life. They described wearing large hinged knee braces, visible even under thick pants, and still being questioned, still being doubted. They said that even their own family never noticed. A grandmother-in-law went 18 years without realizing the joints in both hands were deformed. 18 years! That hits differently when you've lived through betrayal, when people who claim to love you never really look at you, never really see you. Another person chimed in, saying how exhausting it is to navigate a world that doesn't take young, injured, or disabled bodies seriously. They talked about being denied access to priority seating on buses, having stroller-wielding strangers block their way to elevators, being shoved aside at public restrooms meant for disabled use. And even when the signs were clear, a cane, visible injuries, even braces, they were still ignored, still dismissed. And it made me think, how often do we hurt people simply by not believing them? It's been almost a year since I started noticing how often this happens. And now when I hear these stories of people pushed aside, told their pain isn't real, I feel a deep, quiet ache. Because that's what happened to me too. Stories like Claire's and the experiences shared by others remind us of a heartbreaking truth. People often suffer in silence, especially when their wounds aren't immediately visible or when they defy societal expectations. In both emotional and physical spaces, there's a desperate need to believe people the first time they speak their truth. If you're in a toxic relationship or recovering from emotional trauma, the first step is always to reclaim your voice. Speak up, even when it's uncomfortable. If someone tells you they're hurting, believe them. Ask how you can help, instead of explaining it away. Set boundaries. Whether you're dealing with a manipulative friend like Rachel or a partner who once crossed a line, your safety, emotional and physical, must come first. Therapy can be crucial in unpacking these experiences, but so is finding a support system that actually listens. The world won't always make space for your pain, but you must. Because your story, your truth, and your healing deserve to be seen.